My mother-in-law stood up in the middle of my baby shower, looked me dead in my eyes, and said, "Everyone here deserves to know the truth. That baby is not my son's child." 53 people, my family, my friends, my coworkers, my church members, all staring at me like I was trash on the side of the road. I was 7 months pregnant, standing in a room decorated with pink balloons and baby girl Harrison banners. My hands were on my belly protecting my daughter while the woman who was supposed to be her grandmother called me a whore in front of everyone I loved. And my husband, the man who put this baby inside me, he just sat there, didn't stand up, didn't defend me, didn't say a single word. He wouldn't even look at me. That's when I knew. The secret Gloria revealed that day. It was meant to destroy me, to humiliate me so deeply I would crawl away and disappear. She wanted me gone. She'd been planning this for months, maybe years. But here's what that woman didn't know about me. I'm a forensic accountant. I find hidden money for a living. I spend my days tracing fraud, following paper trails, uncovering secrets that people thought they buried forever. Fortune 500 companies pay me 6 figures to find what they're hiding. And when I started looking at my own husband, when I finally opened my eyes and used the skills I use every single day at work, honey, I found a whole lot more than money. I found a second woman. I found a second baby. I found $120,000 missing from our accounts. I found forged documents with my signature. I found credit cards I never opened. I found a whole life he'd been living while I worked 12-hour days to build ours. And I found out that my mother-in-law, the woman who stood up and called me a cheater, she'd known about all of it from the very beginning. She helped him do it. So let me tell you about the day I lost everything I thought I had, and how I got back everything that was actually mine, plus interest. Before I continue, if you believe in karma, if you believe that the truth always comes out, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you've ever been underestimated. If you've ever had someone look at you and think you were too naive to see what was right in front of your face. And comment below, tell me where you're watching from. I want to know how far this story reaches, because trust me, you're going to want to share this one. Now let me take you back to the beginning. Let me show you the life I thought I was living, the marriage I thought I had, the lies I believed because I loved him too much to look closer. My name is Dominique Carter Harrison. Everyone calls me Nikki. I'm 34 years old, and 3 months before my baby shower, everyone said I had the perfect life. Good job, fine husband, beautiful house in the suburbs with a 2-car garage and a backyard where our kids would play, baby on the way after 2 years of trying, church every Sunday, date night every Friday, brunch with my girls every other Saturday. From the outside, I had everything a woman could want, and I tried so hard to believe that. God, I tried so hard to believe that was my life. But something was off. Something had been off for months, maybe longer if I'm being honest with myself. Little things I kept explaining away, little cracks in the foundation that I kept patching over because I didn't want to see what was underneath. I met Damon Harrison at a church young professionals mixer 5 years ago. He walked up to me with this smile that made my knees weak. Tall, handsome, well-dressed. The kind of man who turns heads when he enters a room. He asked if the seat next to me was taken, and I said no, and that was it. I was gone. We dated for 2 years. He was everything I thought I wanted. Romantic, attentive, showed up with flowers for no reason, remembered the little things I mentioned in passing, made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. When he proposed, I cried so hard I could barely say yes. My mama was happy. My friends were happy. I thought I'd found my person, my forever. We got married in a beautiful ceremony at our church, 300 guests. My dress was ivory with a cathedral train. Damon cried when he saw me walk down the aisle. His mama Gloria wore white to my wedding, but I told myself it was just a fashion mistake. I told myself she didn't mean anything by it. I told myself a lot of things about Gloria Harrison, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about the months before the baby shower. The months when the cracks started getting too big to ignore. Damon worked as a regional sales director for a pharmaceutical company. Good job, good money, about $120,000 a year. He traveled a lot. Business trips, client meetings, conferences. At first, it was once or twice a month. Normal stuff. I didn't think anything of it. But about a year into our marriage, the trips started increasing. 3 times a month, then 4, then sometimes 5. And they were always to the same place. Raleigh, North Carolina. 2 hours away. New territory, gal, he told me. Big clients. I'm building something here, baby. This is going to be good for us. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my husband. But the traveling wasn't the only thing that changed. His phone became his third hand. He slept with it under his pillow. He took it into the bathroom. He stepped outside to take calls. If it buzzed at dinner, he'd glance at the screen and then flip it over face down like whatever it said was none of my business. Work stuff, he'd say. You know how demanding these clients are. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. Then there was the money. I make good money. Really good money. As a senior forensic accountant at one of the top firms in Atlanta, I bring home about $140,000 a year. Combined with Damon's salary, we should have been more than comfortable. We should have been building serious savings, but every time I looked at our joint account, the numbers didn't add up. We weren't spending extravagantly. Our mortgage was reasonable. We didn't take expensive vacations. I drove a sensible car. So where was the money going? I've been investing, Damon said when I asked. Building our future. Trust me, baby, it's going to pay off. I trusted him. I was his wife. That's what wives do. And then I got pregnant. After 2 years of trying of negative tests and disappointed tears and wondering if something was wrong with me, I finally saw those 2 pink lines. I screamed so loud the neighbors probably heard me. I called Damon at work and he came home early and we held each other and cried and thanked God for this blessing. That was 7 months before the baby shower. 7 months before everything fell apart. The pregnancy should have been the happiest time of my life. And in some ways, it was. I loved feeling my daughter move inside me. I loved setting up her nursery, picking out tiny pink outfits, imagining what she would look like. But something was different with Damon. He came to the doctor's appointments. He held my hand during the ultrasound. He cried when we found out it was a girl. But there was something behind his eyes, something distant, something worried. I thought it was just nerves, first-time father jitters, the weight of responsibility setting in. I was wrong. It wasn't nerves about becoming a father. It was fear about getting caught. His mother's behavior changed too. Gloria Harrison had never liked me. She made that clear from the beginning. When Damon first brought me home to meet her, she looked me up and down like she was appraising livestock. She's certainly ambitious, she said to Damon like I wasn't standing right there. At our wedding, she told anyone who would listen that she hoped this one works out. Like she was expecting failure, like she was waiting for it. But when I got pregnant, Gloria suddenly became interested. She called more often. She wanted to know about my appointments. She asked questions that seemed strange at the time. Are you absolutely sure about your dates? She asked me once. The conception date, I mean. Are you certain? Of course I'm sure, I told her. Why would you ask that? Just making sure, she said. These things matter. I didn't understand what she meant. I thought she was just being her usual difficult self. I had no idea she was already building the case against me, already planning my destruction. The weeks before the baby shower, Damon became even more distant. He was home less, working late more. His business trips stretched from 2 days to 3, sometimes 4. When he was home, he was distracted, checked out. He'd be sitting next to me on the couch, but his mind was somewhere else entirely. I tried to talk to him about it. One night, about a month before the shower, I reached for his hand while we were watching television. Baby, are you okay? You seem far away lately. He pulled his hand back. Not obviously, but I felt it. That subtle withdrawal. I'm fine. Just stressed about work. The baby coming all the responsibility. You know how it is. I'm stressed too, I said. But we're in this together, right? We can talk to each other. He looked at me then. Really looked at me. And for just a moment, I saw something in his eyes that scared me. Guilt, fear, maybe even pity. But then he smiled and the moment was gone. Of course, baby. We're in this together. I'm just tired. Let me get some sleep. He went to bed. And I sat there on the couch, my hand on my belly, feeling my daughter kick, wondering why I suddenly felt so alone. The insomnia started around that time. The doctor said it was normal. Pregnancy hormones. Anxiety about becoming a first-time mother. They weren't wrong about the anxiety, but it wasn't about the baby. Something was wrong in my marriage. I could feel it in my bones. I just couldn't prove it. Couldn't put my finger on exactly what had changed. So I did what I always did. I pushed the feeling down. I focused on the positive. I threw myself into preparing for my daughter's arrival. I told myself that once the baby came, everything would be better. We'd be a family. The distance would close. The love would come back. I was a fool, but I wouldn't be a fool for much longer. My friends saw it, even when I couldn't, or wouldn't. Tamara Brooks has been my best friend since freshman year of college. We met in the registration line, both of us stressed out and lost, and we've been inseparable ever since. She became a labor and delivery nurse. I became an accountant. But we always made time for each other. Brunch every other Saturday, no matter what. 2 months before the baby shower, we were at our usual spot. This little cafe on the west side that makes the best shrimp and grits in Atlanta. I was 7 months pregnant and eating for 2, so I ordered extra biscuits. Tammy watched me across the table. She had this look on her face, the look she gets when she's about to say something I don't want to hear. "Nikki, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest with me." I put down my fork. "Okay, what's up? Is everything okay at home?" I felt my defenses go up immediately. "What do you mean?" "I mean, girl, look at you. You've lost weight. During pregnancy. That's not supposed to happen. You've got dark circles under your eyes. You're not glowing like pregnant women are supposed to glow. You're dim, like someone turned your light down." "I'm just tired. Growing a human is exhausting." Tammy shook her head. "That's not it. I've been a labor and delivery nurse for 12 years. I know what pregnancy tired looks like. This is something else." She reached across the table and took my hand. "And every time I mention Damon, you flinch. Did you know that your whole body tenses up?" I pulled my hand back. "You're imagining things." "Am I? When's the last time he did something romantic for you? When's the last time you felt like he actually saw you?" I didn't have an answer. "Nikki, I've known you for almost 20 years. You're my sister in everything but blood, and I'm telling you something is wrong. Something is different. You don't have to tell me what it is right now, but please don't pretend everything is fine." I wanted to tell her. I wanted to pour out all my fears and suspicions, the late nights, the distant eyes, the money that didn't add up, the feeling in my gut that wouldn't go away. But saying it out loud would make it real, and I wasn't ready for it to be real. "I'm fine, Tammy, really. Damon is just stressed about work, the baby coming, all the changes. We're adjusting. Every couple goes through this, right?" Tammy looked at me for a long moment. I could see she didn't believe me, but she also knew that pushing harder would only make me shut down. "Okay," she finally said, "but I'm here. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, day or night, you call me." "I know," I said. "I love you." "I love you too, sis. That's why I'm worried." That conversation stayed with me. It echoed in my head at night when I couldn't sleep. But I pushed it away. I made excuses. I convinced myself that Tammy was projecting her own fears onto my marriage. But she wasn't the only one who noticed. My cousin Yolanda is a private investigator. Licensed and everything. She sees cheating spouses and hidden assets for a living. She's been through her own divorce, caught her ex-husband with another woman, and came out the other side stronger than ever. About a week after my brunch with Tammy, there was a family dinner at Mama's house. Fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese. All the foods I'd been craving. Damon was there playing the dutiful husband, helping Mama in the kitchen, charming everyone like he always did. After dinner, Yolanda pulled me aside. We were on Mama's back porch watching the fireflies while everyone else cleaned up inside. "'Cause I need to ask you something," she said, keeping her voice low. "Why does everyone keep wanting to ask me questions lately?" "Because people who love you can see what you can't, or won't." She lit a cigarette, took a drag. "Those business trips Damon takes, they're always to the same city, Raleigh. It's his new sales territory. Why?" Yolanda was quiet for a moment. Because I was working a case there last month, surveillance job. Followed a subject to this apartment complex on the north side of the city. Nice place, middle class. And I could have sworn I saw Damon's car there. My heart stopped. What? Silver BMW Wright personalized plates that say Dare. That's his car. That's what I thought. It was parked there in the middle of the day, not at an office building, not at a client's business, at a residential complex. He probably had a meeting, I said, but my voice sounded weak even to my own ears. At someone's apartment, in the middle of a workday, for 3 hours. How do you know it was 3 hours? Because I was there 3 hours, waiting on my subject. Yolanda flicked ash off her cigarette. I didn't think much of it at the time. Could have been visiting a friend, a relative, whatever. But then I started watching you tonight, watching him. And something ain't right, Nikki. You see cheaters everywhere, I said. It's an occupational hazard. Maybe, or maybe you see nothing because you don't want to look. She turned to face me. I'm not trying to start trouble. I just love you. And if something is going on, I'd rather you find out now than after that baby is born. You hear me? I heard her. I just didn't want to listen. If I ever need your help, I said slowly, professionally I mean, would you help me in a heartbeat, family rate, which means free? She stubbed out her cigarette. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope Damon is exactly who he says he is. I hope you have the perfect marriage and the perfect baby and the perfect life. I really do. Thanks, Yo. We went back inside. I watched Damon laughing with my uncle playing cards with my cousins, kissing me on the forehead when he passed by. He seemed so normal, so loving, so perfectly, completely normal. But that night when we got home, I watched him sleep. His phone was on the nightstand, face down like always. His breathing was slow and peaceful, and I wondered. For the first time, I really wondered. But wondering wasn't the same as knowing, and I wasn't ready to know. Not yet. That would come later. After the baby shower. After Gloria dropped her bomb. After my entire world exploded. Then I would be ready to know everything. The morning of my baby shower, I woke up happy. I know that sounds strange, given everything I just told you about the warning signs and the worried friends and the sleepless nights. But that morning, I pushed it all away. I told myself today was going to be a good day. A great day. The kind of day you remember forever. My mama threw the shower at her house. She'd been planning it for months, ever since we announced the pregnancy. The theme was Princess in Bloom, pink and gold everywhere. My favorite flowers, peonies on every table, streamers and balloons, and a banner that said, Welcome Baby Girl Harrison, in glittery letters. I stood in Mama's living room that morning looking at everything she'd done, and I cried. Happy tears, grateful tears. My mama had raised me alone after my father left when I was 5. She worked 2 jobs to put me through school. She sacrificed everything so I could have opportunities. And now here she was at 68 years old, still taking care of me, still making sure I felt loved and celebrated. You okay, baby? Mama asked, coming up behind me. I'm perfect, Mama. This is all so beautiful. She hugged me from behind her hands, resting on my belly. My grandbaby deserves the best, and so do you. I leaned back into her embrace. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby. Now go get dressed. People will be here soon. I wore a pink dress that day, flowy and feminine with room for my belly. I did my makeup nice, put on the diamond earrings Damon gave me for our first anniversary. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought for the first time in weeks, I look happy. I look like myself. The guests started arriving around noon, 53 people by the time everyone was there. My aunts and cousins, my co-workers from the firm, my friends from church, my college girlfriends, women I'd known my whole life and women I'd just met, all coming together to celebrate my daughter. Tammy was there, of course. She showed up early to help set up bringing enough food to feed an army. L&D nurses know how to cook for a crowd, she said, winking at me. Yolanda came too, dressed in a beautiful green dress, looking nothing like the tough PI I knew she was. She hugged me tight and whispered, Today is your day. Enjoy every minute. Even Damon's Aunt Patricia came. She was his father's sister, not Gloria's side of the family. She'd always been kind to me, always seemed a little uncomfortable around Gloria. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," she said, kissing my cheek. "I'm so happy for you." And then there was Gloria. My mother-in-law arrived fashionably late as always. She swept into Mama's house like she owned it, wearing a cream-colored suit that probably cost more than my first car. She kissed me on both cheeks European style and said, "Don't you look glowing?" But her eyes said something different. Her eyes said she was waiting for something. I should have noticed. I should have seen the way she kept checking her phone, the way she kept glancing at me with this strange expression, half excitement, half hatred, the way she kept whispering to Damon in the corners. Tammy noticed. She pulled me aside while the games were being set up. "Your mother-in-law has been on her phone all morning," she said quietly. "And she keeps looking at you like what? Like she's waiting for something to happen. Like she knows something. Tammy, it's fine. Gloria is always weird. That's just who she is. This is different, Nikki. I'm telling you, something is off." I patted her arm. "You're being paranoid. Enjoy the party. Have some of the punch. Mama made it with pineapple juice the way you like it." Tammy didn't look convinced, but she let it go. The shower went beautifully at first. We played all the classic games. Guess how many candies in the jar? Baby bingo, the one where everyone guesses what baby food is in the unlabeled jars. I opened presents and cried at the tiny dresses and soft blankets and stuffed animals for my daughter. I felt loved, surrounded by women who cared about me. For a few hours, I forgot about all my worries. I forgot about the late nights and the distant eyes and the money that didn't add up. I was just a woman about to become a mother, celebrating with the people who mattered most. Then Mama announced it was time for the speeches. A few people stood up to say nice things. Tammy talked about our friendship and how she couldn't wait to be Auntie Tammy to my little girl. My Aunt Beverly told embarrassing stories about me as a child. My coworker Sandra said I was the best mentor she'd ever had. And then Gloria stood up. She clinked her champagne glass with a butter knife. The room got quiet. Everyone turned to look at her. I remember thinking, this should be nice. She's going to say something nice about me for once. I was so naive. Mama saw it before I did. She was standing near the kitchen door, and I saw her face change. Her eyes went wide, her body tensed. She started moving toward Gloria, but she was too far away. "Can I have everyone's attention?" Gloria said, her voice carrying through the room. "I'd like to say a few words about my daughter-in-law." She said daughter-in-law like it tasted bad in her mouth, like she was spitting out something rotten. "Dominique, when my son first brought you home, I had my doubts. You were so ambitious, so focused on your career. I wondered if you'd ever make time for a family, if you'd ever be a proper wife to my son." The room had gone completely silent. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. I could feel my face getting hot. And now here we are, a baby on the way, my first grandchild. Everyone is so excited. Gloria paused. She looked around the room, making sure she had everyone's attention, making sure everyone was watching. Then she looked directly at me, and she smiled. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator about to strike. "But there's something everyone here deserves to know." Mama was pushing through the crowd now. "Gloria, don't you dare!" Gloria raised her voice to be heard over the murmuring. "Something I've struggled with for weeks. As a woman of God, I cannot stand by and let this charade continue." I stood up from my chair. My legs were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "Gloria, what are you—" She cut me off. "That baby," she said, pointing at my belly, "is not my son's child." The room exploded. Gasps, screams, chairs scraping against the floor. Someone dropped a glass and it shattered. "I found proof," Gloria shouted over the chaos. "Text messages, hundreds of them, to a man named Marcus." She held up printed papers. Screenshots of texts. "Can't wait to see you. Miss you. Love what we have." She read them out loud, her voice triumphant. My son has been raising another man's baby without knowing, and I refuse to let this woman make a fool of him any longer. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. I looked at Damon. He was sitting in a chair near the door, frozen. His face was pale. His hands were gripping his knees. "Damon," I said. My voice came out as a whisper. "Damon, tell them. Tell them it's not true. You know me. You know me." He didn't move. He didn't speak. He wouldn't even look at me. "Damon!" Gloria stepped closer to me. "He already knows, dear. I showed him last week. Why do you think he's been so distant? You broke his heart." Mama finally reached Gloria and grabbed her arm. "Get out of my house! Get out!" But Gloria just laughed. "The truth hurts, doesn't it? Your precious daughter isn't so perfect after all." I was shaking so hard I could barely stand. My hands were on my belly, protecting my baby from the poison filling the room. "That's not true," I said. My voice was breaking. Tears were streaming down my face. "I've never cheated. There's no Marcus. I don't know what you're talking about." "Then explain these messages." Gloria shoved the papers at me. "Hundreds of texts to this number going back months." I looked at the papers through my tears. I saw the phone number. I saw the texts. And I knew. I knew exactly what that number was. It was the customer service line for Marcus Wellbeing Supplements, the company that makes my prenatal vitamins. I'd saved the number in my phone as Marcus because that's the company name. I'd been texting them about my subscription, about delivery times, about switching to a different formula. Gloria had found my vitamin texts and created an entire affair out of them. The baby kicked inside me. Hard, like she could feel her mother's distress. I looked up at Gloria, at this woman who had spent years looking down on me, who had never accepted me, who had worn white to my wedding and told everyone she hoped this one works out. And I looked at my husband, the man I had loved for 5 years. The man whose child I was carrying. He still wouldn't look at me. Something broke inside me in that moment. But it wasn't the thing Gloria wanted to break. Something else broke free. Because in that moment, standing in my mama's living room, surrounded by the wreckage of my baby shower, I finally understood. If Gloria was this desperate to destroy me, if she had manufactured evidence and staged this public humiliation, she wasn't trying to expose a secret. She was trying to hide one, and whatever she was hiding had to be much, much bigger than anything she'd accused me of. I wiped my tears. I took a deep breath, and I looked at my mother-in-law with new eyes. "That number," I said, my voice surprisingly steady, "is for my prenatal vitamin subscription. The company is called Marcus Wellbeing Supplements. I can prove it right now." Gloria's face flickered, just for a second. But I saw it. Fear. She was afraid, which meant she had something to be afraid of, and I was going to find out what it was. The room was chaos after that. Mama was screaming at Gloria to get out. Tammy was holding my arm, asking if I was okay. My aunts were arguing with each other about what to do. Some guests were already leaving, unable to handle the drama. Others were frozen in place, watching like it was a television show. And I was standing in the middle of it all, my hand on my belly, my mind racing. I pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking, but I managed to find the contact saved as Marcus. I held it up for everyone to see. "This is the number," I said loudly. "Watch." I dialed it, put it on speaker. "Thank you for calling Marcus Wellbeing Supplements. For customer service, press 1. For order status, press 2. For..." I hung up. The room went silent again. Everyone looked at Gloria. For the first time, I saw my mother-in-law without her mask. She looked panicked, cornered, like an animal caught in a trap. The text said," she stammered. "The text said I was confirming delivery times and asking about my subscription," I said. "That's what they said. If you'd actually read them instead of just seeing what you wanted to see, you would have known that." But the phone number was in the call history, hundreds of times. Because I've had stomach issues during this pregnancy and I've been changing my vitamin formula every few weeks. I call them constantly. I took a step toward her. You didn't find evidence of an affair, Gloria. You found evidence that I take my prenatal vitamins seriously. Mama stepped between us. Gloria, I want you out of my house, right now, before I call the police. But I held up my hand. Wait, Mama. I looked at Damon. He was still sitting in that chair, still frozen, still not looking at me. Damon, I said, look at me. He raised his eyes, slowly, reluctantly. Your mother just accused me of cheating on you, in front of everyone we know. She had prepared screenshots. She had a whole speech ready. She planned this. I paused. Did you know she was going to do this? He opened his mouth, closed it. Damon, she showed me the texts last week. I didn't know what to think. I was confused. You were confused. I let that sink in. You've known me for 5 years. We've been married for 3. I'm carrying your child, and you were confused. My mother said, "Whoa, your mother lied." I screamed it. I couldn't hold it in anymore. She fabricated evidence to humiliate me, and you believed her. You sat there and watched her destroy me, and you didn't say a single word in my defense. Damon stood up. Nikki, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was going to do it like this. But you knew she was going to do something. You've been distant for weeks, pulling away, barely touching me. Now I know why. You thought I was cheating on you this whole time without even asking me. My mother seemed so sure. Your mother has hated me from day one. She wore white to our wedding. She told people she hoped this one works out. She's never said a single kind thing to me in 5 years, and you chose her over me. My voice cracked on the last word. The tears came back hot and angry. Mama put her arm around me. Baby, let's get you out of here. This isn't good for you or the baby. She was right. I could feel my blood pressure rising. My heart was racing. The baby was moving frantically, sensing my distress. But before I left, I turned back to Gloria. You thought you could destroy me, I said quietly. You thought you could humiliate me in front of everyone I love, and I would just, disappear, run away with my tail between my legs. Gloria lifted her chin. Even now, even caught in her lie, she was defiant. I was protecting my son. From what a loyal wife. A woman who's worked 60-hour weeks to help build our future. A woman who's given you nothing but respect even when you gave me none. From a gold digger, Gloria spat. That's what you are. That's what you've always been. You trapped my son with that pregnancy. Trapped him. I make more money than he does. I brought more assets to this marriage than he did. If anyone is a gold digger here, I stopped myself. Something clicked in my brain, that forensic accountant brain that I'd been ignoring for months. Why would Gloria, who had never liked me, who had always treated me like I wasn't good enough, suddenly put so much effort into destroying me? She wore white to my wedding because she was mourning her son's marriage. She hoped this one would work out because she expected it to fail. She asked about my conception dates because she needed to know something. She fabricated evidence because she needed me gone. Why? What was she hiding? Nikki. Tammy was at my elbow. Come on, girl, let's get you out of here. I nodded slowly, but I held Gloria's gaze for one more moment. This isn't over, I said softly. You came at me with lies. Now I'm going to find the truth. And whatever you're hiding, I will find it. Something flickered in Gloria's eyes, that fear again, deep and real. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, but her voice wavered. Yes, you do, and so does your son. I looked at Damon. Something is very wrong here, and I'm going to find out what it is. Tammy led me out of Mama's house. Yolanda followed us. Mama stayed behind to clear out the remaining guests and deal with Gloria. In the car, I sat in the back seat, my hands on my belly staring out the window. My baby shower was ruined. My marriage was probably over. My life as I knew it had just exploded. But underneath the hurt, underneath the humiliation, something else was growing. Determination. Nikki! Tammy was watching me in the rearview mirror. You okay? No, I said honestly. I'm not okay. I'm devastated. I'm humiliated. I'm pregnant with a baby whose father can't even look at me. What are you going to do? I met her eyes in the mirror. I'm going to do what I do best, I said. I'm going to investigate. I'm going to follow the money. I'm going to find out what they're hiding. Yolanda turned around from the front seat. You want my help? Yes, starting tonight. I want to know every secret my husband has, every lie he's ever told, every penny that's moved through our accounts. That's a lot of digging. That's my job, I said. I trace fraud for a living. I find hidden money. I uncover lies. I took a deep breath. And now I'm going to use those skills on my own marriage. Tammy nodded slowly. What do you need from me? I need you to help me stay calm. Help me stay healthy. I've got 2 months until this baby comes, and I need to be strong enough to deliver her. Whatever I find out about Damon, this baby is innocent. She deserves a mother who's prepared for whatever comes next. And Gloria, I thought about my mother-in-law, the hatred in her eyes, the fear underneath. Gloria made a mistake today, I said. She showed her hand. She let me know she was desperate. Desperate people are hiding something big. I leaned back against the seat. I'm going to find out what it is. And when I do, I didn't finish the sentence, but I knew how it ended. When I found out what they were hiding, I was going to make them pay. Both of them. That night at Mama's house, I made my first move. I opened my laptop. I logged into our joint bank account. I started downloading statements going back 3 years, and when I saw the numbers, the withdrawals I'd noticed before the ones I'd ignored because I trusted my husband, I felt my blood run cold. $2,500 a month, every month, for 3 years. Going to something called Property Management LLC. We didn't own any rental property. I traced the LLC, found the registered owner. Gloria Harrison, my mother-in-law. My husband had been sending money to his mother, secretly, for 3 years, over $100,000. Why? That was the question that kept me up all night, the question that would lead me down a rabbit hole darker than anything I could have imagined. Gloria tried to destroy me at my baby shower, but she made one fatal mistake. She underestimated me. She forgot what I do for a living. And now I was going to use every skill I had to tear down the house of lies she'd built. The investigation had begun. The night after my baby shower, I didn't sleep. I sat at Mama's kitchen table with my laptop open, bank statements spread out around me like evidence at a crime scene, because that's what this was, a crime scene. And I was going to investigate it like the professional I am. Mama tried to get me to rest. Baby, you're 7 months pregnant. You need to sleep. Whatever this is, it can wait until morning. But it couldn't wait. I knew that in my bones. Every hour that passed was an hour Damon and Gloria had to cover their tracks, to hide whatever they were hiding, to prepare their next attack. I'll rest when I know the truth, Mama, I said. Right now, I need to work. She kissed my forehead and went to bed, leaving me alone with my thoughts and my spreadsheets. The first thing I did was download every bank statement from our joint account going back 3 years, every transaction, every deposit, every withdrawal. I created a spreadsheet and started categorizing everything. My deposits were easy to identify. My bi-weekly paycheck from the firm, same amount every time, deposited like clockwork. I was the consistent one, the reliable one. Damon's deposits were different. His salary was supposed to be around $10,000 a month, but the amounts varied. Sometimes it was the full amount. Sometimes it was less. Sometimes there were weeks with no deposit at all. But it was the withdrawals that made my blood run cold. $2,500 every single month for 36 months, transferred to something called Property Management LLC. I did the math. That was $90,000 right there, just in those regular transfers. But there was more. Cash withdrawals, 500 here, 1,000 there, sometimes 2,000 at a time, always from ATMs in different locations, many of them in Raleigh, North Carolina, the same city where Yolanda had seen his car at that apartment complex. I added it all up. The property management transfers plus the cash withdrawals plus miscellaneous expenses I couldn't account for. Over $120,000. Gone. In 3 years. That was money I had earned. Money I had contributed to our joint account. Money that was supposed to be building our future, our daughter's future. And it was just gone. I sat back in my chair and put my hands on my belly. My daughter kicked like she knew something was wrong. "Don't worry, baby girl," I whispered. "Mama's going to figure this out. Mama's going to fix this." But first, I needed to understand what I was dealing with. The next morning, Damon called. I watched his name flash on my phone screen and felt nothing. No love, no anger, just a cold, empty numbness. I answered. "Nikki." His voice was cautious, uncertain. "We need to talk." "Do we? About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry. I didn't know my mother was going to do that. I didn't know." "What did you know, Damon?" Silence. "You knew something. She showed you those texts last week. You believed her. You've been pulling away from me for weeks. So what did you know?" I was confused. The texts looked real. My mother said she had proof. Your mother fabricated evidence to humiliate me at my own baby shower. The question is why? I paused. "What are you hiding, Damon?" "I'm not hiding anything." The lie was so smooth, so practiced. If I hadn't spent the night looking at bank statements, I might have believed him. "Really, then explain the $120,000. Dead silence. I could hear him breathing, but he didn't say a word. "Property Management, LLC, I continued. $2,500 a month for 3 years, plus all the cash withdrawals, plus the expenses I can't trace. Where did the money go, Damon?" That's my investment account. I told you I was investing. Property Management, LLC is registered to your mother. I already traced it. You've been sending my money to Gloria." "Why?" More silence, longer this time. "Damon, I'm a forensic accountant. This is literally what I do for a living. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Nikki, it's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is, right now. Tell me the truth, or I swear to God I will dig until I find it myself. And if I have to find it myself, I won't be as forgiving." I heard him take a deep breath. For a moment, I thought he might actually tell me. I thought he might finally be honest. But then he said the words that sealed his fate. "You're being paranoid. It's the pregnancy hormones. You're not thinking clearly." Something inside me went cold. Ice cold. "The pregnancy hormones," I repeated. "Yes, you're emotional right now. You're seeing conspiracies that don't exist. Maybe you should talk to someone, a therapist, get some help." He was gaslighting me. After everything that had happened, after his mother had publicly humiliated me, after I had found proof that he was hiding money, he was trying to make me think I was crazy. "Goodbye, Damon," I said. "Nikki, wait." I hung up. Then I called Tammy. "I need you to come over to Mama's house," I said, "and call Yolanda. Tell her to bring her equipment." "What's going on?" "War," I said. "That's what's going on, and I'm about to win it." Tammy arrived within the hour. Yolanda came 20 minutes later carrying a duffel bag full of equipment I didn't even want to ask about. We set up in Mama's dining room. Mama made coffee and sandwiches, then sat in the corner quiet but present. She wasn't going anywhere. Her grandbaby was at stake. "Okay," Yolanda said, pulling out her laptop. "Walk me through everything you found last night." I showed them the spreadsheets, the bank statements, the transfers to Property Management, LLC, the cash withdrawals. Tammy's eyes got wider with every number. $120,000, Nikki, that's 3 years of my savings, I said. That's the down payment on a house. That's a college fund. That's my daughter's future. And it all went to his mother's company. Yolanda was already typing, pulling up records. Property Management, LLC, registered in Georgia. Sole proprietor Gloria Antoinette Harrison. She looked up at me. "No employees, no listed properties. No business activity that I can find." "So it's a shell company," I said. "Looks like it. A way to move money without leaving an obvious trail." Yolanda kept typing. "The question is, where did the money go after it hit Gloria's account? Can you find out?" Yolanda smiled. It wasn't a nice smile, 'cause I've traced money through offshore accounts in the Caymans. Your mother-in-law's little shell company isn't going to stop me. While Yolanda worked on the money trail, I turned to Tammy. I need you to help me with something else. You work at the hospital. You know people. Is there any way to find out if Damon has been seeing anyone else, medically, I mean? Like if he's been to the clinic, or if someone else has been using our insurance? Tammy hesitated. That's a HIPAA violation, Nikki. I could lose my license. I know. I'm not asking you to break the law. I'm asking if there's any way to find out legally. Any records I might have access to as his wife. Tammy thought about it. The insurance statements. If he's been adding anyone to the plan or if there have been claims from other providers, it would show up on the explanation of benefits. Those get mailed to the house, but you can also access them online. I pulled up our insurance portal, logged in with the credentials I'd memorized years ago. And there it was. Claims from a provider in Raleigh, an OB/GYN clinic, going back 8 months. He doesn't have a uterus, Tammy said, looking over my shoulder. Why is he having OB/GYN claims? My hands were shaking as I clicked on the details. Patient name, Crystal Montgomery. Relationship to policyholder spouse. Spouse, I whispered. He listed another woman as his spouse on our insurance. Tammy grabbed my arm. Nikki, breathe. But I couldn't breathe. I was staring at claim after claim. Prenatal visits, ultrasounds, lab work. This woman, this Crystal Montgomery, was pregnant, and she was using my husband's insurance. Our insurance. The insurance I paid for. She's pregnant, I said. My voice sounded far away like it was coming from someone else. He got another woman pregnant. We don't know that for sure. Tammy started. Prenatal claims going back 8 months, Tammy. She's further along than I am. The room went silent. Yolanda looked up from her laptop. I found something else. That apartment complex in Raleigh, the one where I saw his car, I just pulled the property records. Unit 4B is leased to Crystal Montgomery, and guess who's listed as the co-signer on the lease? I didn't have to guess. Damon Harrison, Yolanda confirmed. He's been paying her rent through his mother's shell company for almost 4 years. 4 years. We'd only been married for 3. He was with her before we got married, I said. He never stopped. Mama stood up from her corner. She walked over to me and put her hands on my shoulders. Baby, I know this hurts. I know this feels like the end of the world. But you're strong. You're smart. And you're not alone. She squeezed my shoulders. What do you need? What did I need? I needed this to not be happening. I needed my husband to be who I thought he was. I needed my daughter to have a father who wasn't a lying, cheating thief. But I wasn't going to get any of that, so I focused on what I could get. I need evidence, I said. Real evidence. Not just bank statements and insurance claims. I need photos. I need proof that will hold up in court. And I need to know everything about Crystal Montgomery. Who she is. What she knows. Whether she's a victim or a co-conspirator. Yolanda nodded. I can put surveillance on her. Legally. She's using your insurance fraudulently. You have a right to investigate. Do it. What about Damon? Tammy asked. What are you going to do about him? I thought about my husband. The man who had held my hand at our wedding. The man who had cried when we found out we were having a girl. The man who had let his mother destroy me in front of everyone I loved. I'm not going to do anything about Damon, I said. Not yet. I'm going to let him think I bought his gaslighting. Let him think the crazy pregnant lady went back to her mama's house to calm down. Let him think he got away with it. And then when I have everything I need, when I know every secret he's ever kept, when I have enough evidence to bury him in court, I looked at my sister Circle, my best friend, my cousin, my mother. Then I'm going to take everything he has, everything he stole from me, and I'm going to make sure he never does this to another woman again. Mama squeezed my shoulders one more time. That's my girl, she said. The investigation continued. Over the next 3 days, I became a ghost. I moved through Mama's house like a phantom, barely sleeping, barely eating, just working. Spreadsheets, phone records, property documents, bank statements. I built a case against my own husband the same way I'd built cases against corporate fraudsters for the past decade. The difference was this time it was personal. This time, every number I found felt like a knife in my chest, but I kept going. because my daughter deserved a mother who fought. Not a mother who cried in the corner, a mother who fought. Yolanda came through with surveillance photos on day 2. She spread them across Mama's dining room table like a deck of cards from hell. Each photo was a punch to my gut. Damon's car parked outside the apartment complex. Damon walking up the stairs to Unit 4B. Damon opening the door with his own key. And then the photos that broke me. Damon coming out of the apartment the next morning, hair wet from a shower. Different clothes than the day before, and behind him, standing in the doorway, a woman. She was pretty, young, maybe late 20s, light-skinned with long braids, and she was very, very pregnant. Her belly was bigger than mine. She was further along. "That's Crystal Montgomery," Yolanda said quietly. 29 years old, works as a dental hygienist at a clinic in Raleigh. No criminal record, no prior marriages. By all accounts, she thinks she's in a real relationship. Does she know about me? I'm not sure. I talked to some neighbors, pretended to be an old friend looking for her. They say her boyfriend visits regularly, stays overnight. They think they're engaged. One neighbor said she saw a ring. A ring? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. He bought her a ring, with my money. I looked at the photos again, looked at Crystal's face. She was smiling in one of them, looking up at Damon like he hung the moon. I knew that look. I used to look at him the same way. "She doesn't know," I said quietly. "Look at her face. She thinks she's building a life with him. She has no idea." "How can you be sure?" "Because I was her. 3 years ago. I was the woman who believed everything he said, who trusted him completely, who had no idea she was being played." Tammy put her hand on my shoulder. "What do you want to do?" "I want to keep digging. I need to know everything before I make a move." The money trail got darker the deeper I went. I already knew about the Property Management LLC transfers, the $120,000 that went to Gloria's shell company. But when I traced where that money went next, I found something worse. The townhouse. Damon had bought Crystal a townhouse. Not rented. Bought. It was a $280,000 property in a nice neighborhood in Raleigh. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a little backyard. Perfect for a family. The mortgage was in Damon's name, but when I looked at the loan application, I felt my blood turn to ice. The income verification listed both of our salaries, his and mine. The application said we were applying together. That I had co-signed. There was a signature on the document, my signature. Except I had never signed anything. I had never seen this application. I didn't even know this property existed. Damon had forged my signature on a mortgage application. That was federal bank fraud. A felony, but he hadn't stopped there. I found credit cards I never knew about, 3 of them. All opened using my social security number. All maxed out. The charges told their own story. Jewelry stores, high-end restaurants, hotels, a weekend trip to Miami, another to Vegas. None of it for me. All of it for her. The total debt on those cards was $35,000. In my name. Destroying my credit. And I had never made a single charge. Identity theft. Another felony. I made a list of everything I'd found. The property management transfers $120,000. The additional cash withdrawals, $45,000, my grandmother's inheritance, that he said he invested $30,000 gone. The forged mortgage, $280,000 property. The fraudulent credit cards, $35,000 in debt. The insurance fraud, Crystal on my policy without my knowledge. The total exposure was over $500,000. Money he'd stolen. Debt he'd created in my name. Property bought with forged documents. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just lying. This was systematic financial destruction. He had been dismantling my financial life piece by piece, year by year, while I worked 60-hour weeks thinking I was building a future for us. "Nikki," Tammy said, looking at my list, "this is criminal. Like, go to prison criminal." "I know." "What are you going to do?" I looked at the list, at the photos, at 3 years of betrayal laid out in black and white. First, I need to protect myself, move what's left of my money, freeze my credit, make sure he can't do any more damage. And then I need a lawyer, a really good one. Mama spoke up from her corner. I know someone, Angela Price. She goes to my church, family law attorney, handles complex divorces. She's helped a lot of women in situations like this. Call her, I said. Tell her I have a case that's going to make her career. That night, lying in bed at Mama's house, I felt the baby kick. I put my hand on my belly and whispered to my daughter, "Your daddy isn't who I thought he was, baby girl. But that's okay, because your mama is exactly who she thought she was. Smart, strong, capable. And I'm going to make sure you never have to depend on anyone the way I depended on him." The baby kicked again, like she understood. "I've got you," I whispered. "I've got us, and nobody is going to take that away." On the fourth day, I got an unexpected phone call. The name on the screen said Patricia Harrison, Damon's aunt, his father's sister, the one who had always been kind to me even when Gloria was cold. I hesitated before answering. Was this a trap? Had Gloria sent her to gather information, but something told me to pick up? Call it intuition. Call it desperation. Call it God whispering in my ear. "Hello?" "Nikki, it's Patricia, Damon's aunt." Her voice was warm but serious. "I heard what happened at your baby shower. I need to talk to you. In person. Can you meet me? I don't know if that's a good idea. Please, honey, I have information you need to hear. Information about Gloria, about Damon, about what's really going on in that family." She paused. "I know things. Things that could help you." An hour later, I was sitting across from Patricia Harrison at a coffee shop on the north side of Atlanta. She looked older than I remembered, tired, like she was carrying a weight that had been pressing down on her for years. "Thank you for meeting me," she said. "I know you have no reason to trust anyone from that family right now." "You're right. I don't. I understand." She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "Let me tell you something about Gloria Harrison. Something that might help you understand what you're dealing with." I leaned back in my chair. "I'm listening." "Gloria married my brother Raymond for money. That's not speculation. That's fact. She was working as a secretary at his company when they met. He was a successful businessman, owned 3 car dealerships, worth several million by the time he was 40. I didn't know that. Most people don't. Gloria has worked very hard to rewrite history, but I was there. I watched it happen." Patricia took a sip of her coffee. "She got pregnant with Damon within 6 months of dating Raymond. He did the right thing and married her. And from that moment on, she controlled everything. Controlled how, the money, the decisions, who Raymond could see who he couldn't. She isolated him from his family, including me. She convinced him that we were all jealous of their success, that we just wanted his money." Patricia's voice got bitter. "I barely saw my brother for the last 10 years of his life." "What happened to him?" "Heart attack. 8 years ago. Died at 62. Patricia looked down at her coffee. "Gloria was at a spa when it happened. Didn't come home for 2 days. I felt sick. And the inheritance. Raymond left everything to Damon in a trust. The dealerships, the investments, the real estate. Gloria was supposed to get a monthly allowance from the trust enough to live comfortably, but she didn't have control of the principal." "Was supposed to," Patricia nodded. "The trust was managed by Raymond's lawyer, a good man, honest. He kept Gloria on a tight leash for years. But he retired about 4 years ago. The new trustee wasn't as careful." 4 years ago. The same time Damon started seeing Crystal. The same time the money started disappearing. What happened? Gloria started manipulating the trust, moving money around, making investments that never panned out, taking loans that never got repaid. Patricia looked at me. "Raymond's lawyer, the original one, he came out of retirement last year because the new trustee was concerned about irregularities. They've been investigating Gloria for months." "How much has she taken?" "At least $300,000, maybe more." I let that sink in. Gloria wasn't just helping Damon steal from me. She was stealing from everyone. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. Because you deserve to know what you married into, and because Gloria is dangerous. Patricia leaned forward. She didn't just accept you as Damon's wife, Nikki. She selected you. What do you mean? Gloria handpicks the women in Damon's life. Always has. When he was young, she introduced him to Crystal. Crystal's mother is a friend from church. Gloria thought Crystal was pliable, easy to control, and she was right. But then Damon met me. Yes. And at first Gloria was furious. You weren't part of her plan, but then she saw your tax returns. My tax returns. Of course. I make more money than Damon, I said. You make more money than Damon has ever made. And you have a stable career. Good credit. Assets. Patricia shook her head. Gloria did the math. If Damon married you, combined your incomes, built a life together, and then took half in a divorce, that was better than anything Crystal could provide. So she let him marry me. She encouraged it, told Damon to lock you down before you realized you could do better. Patricia's face was grim. But she never intended for you to be permanent. You were an investment, a source of capital, and Crystal was always waiting in the wings. But I got pregnant, and that ruined everything. Gloria had been telling Crystal for years that Damon would leave you eventually, that you were just the business wife and Crystal was the real love. But then you got pregnant and suddenly it wasn't so easy to walk away. I thought about Gloria's strange questions about my due date, her sudden interest in my pregnancy, her manufactured evidence at the baby shower. She tried to destroy me so Damon could leave without consequences. Exactly. If you were the cheater, if you were the villain, then Damon could divorce you and walk away with his reputation intact. Maybe even get sympathy. Poor Damon married to a cheating wife. But the evidence she presented was fake. Gloria's never been smart enough to pull off a long con. She's impulsive. She makes mistakes. Patricia reached across the table and took my hand. That's why I'm here. You have resources Gloria doesn't know about. The trust investigation. The proof that she's been stealing from her own son's inheritance. If you combine what you know with what the lawyers know, we can take her down. Patricia nodded. And Damon with her. He's been signing off on the trust withdrawals. He's complicit. Probably didn't even realize what he was doing because Gloria has always controlled him. I sat back processing everything. Gloria Harrison had orchestrated my entire marriage. She had selected me like livestock, bred me for my earning potential, and planned to discard me when she'd extracted enough value. And Damon had gone along with all of it. Maybe because he was weak. Maybe because Gloria had trained him to obey. Maybe because he genuinely didn't care about anyone but himself. It didn't matter anymore. The reason didn't change the outcome. Who's the lawyer handling the trust investigation? I asked. Gerald Morrison. Morrison and Associates. He's been trying to build a case against Gloria for over a year, but she's been covering her tracks. Patricia wrote the name and number on a napkin. Call him. Tell him what you know. He'll want to talk to you. I took the napkin. Why are you helping me? Gloria is your sister-in-law. Damon is your nephew. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. Because my brother would be ashamed of what his son has become. Because Gloria poisoned that family and I couldn't stop her. And because you're carrying my great niece and that baby deserves better than this mess. She stood up to leave, then paused. One more thing. You asked about Crystal, whether she's a victim or a co-conspirator. What do you think? I think she's been manipulated just like you have. Gloria has been filling her head with lies for years. Crystal genuinely believes she's the real girlfriend, that you're the interloper, that everything Gloria does is for her benefit. So she doesn't know. She doesn't know anything. She's as much a victim as you are. Patricia put her hand on my shoulder. If you can, when this all comes out, be gentle with her. She's going to lose everything too. Her home, her future, her illusions. She's going to need someone who understands. I thought about the surveillance photos, Crystal's face glowing with pregnancy and love, looking at Damon like he was her whole world, just like I used to. I'll try, I said. Patricia left. I sat alone in the coffee shop holding the napkin with the lawyer's name. I had pieces now. Lots of pieces. But I was still missing something. I was still building the puzzle from the outside in. To really understand what I was dealing with, I needed to talk to the one person who had been living the other half of my husband's double life. I needed to talk to Crystal. I waited 2 more days before making the call. I needed time to process everything Patricia had told me. I needed time to organize my evidence. And honestly, I needed time to prepare myself emotionally for what I was about to do. I was about to call the woman my husband had been sleeping with for 4 years, the woman who was pregnant with his other child, the woman who had been living the life I thought was mine. Yolanda thought I was crazy. "Why would you warn her?" she asked. "She's the other woman. Let her find out when the lawyers come knocking." "Because Patricia was right," I said. "Crystal is a victim too. She's been lied to just like I have. And if I'm going to take Damon down, I need her help. She has evidence I don't have. Texts, photos, documents Gloria gave her, things that could prove conspiracy." "And what if she's not a victim? What if she's in on it? Then I'll know. But I have to try." Tammy understood better. "You need to look her in the eye," she said. "You need to know if she's an enemy or an ally." I get it. "It's more than that," I admitted. "If she's really been manipulated by Gloria, if she really thinks she's in a legitimate relationship, then she's about to have her whole world destroyed, and she's 8 months pregnant, just like me. You feel bad for her." "I feel connected to her, in the worst possible way." Tammy hugged me. "You're a better woman than most, Nikki. I don't know if I could do what you're doing." "I don't have a choice. If I want to protect my daughter, I have to protect myself. And to protect myself, I need Crystal on my side." I found Crystal's phone number in the insurance records. She had listed it on one of the claim forms. I blocked my number before I called. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. It rang 3 times. "Hello." Her voice was soft, young, a little tired the way pregnant women get in the 3rd trimester. "Is this Crystal Montgomery?" "Yes." "Who's this?" I took a deep breath. "My name is Dominique Harrison. I'm Damon's wife, and I think we need to talk." The silence that followed was so complete I thought she had hung up. "His wife. We've been married for 3 years, together for 5. I'm currently 7 months pregnant with his daughter." "No." Her voice cracked. "No, that's not. He said you were divorced. He said you were his ex who wouldn't let go, that you were just handling paperwork." "We were never divorced because we were never separated. I found out about you 4 days ago when I started investigating where our money was going." I heard her breath catch. Then I heard crying. Soft, broken sobs that made my chest ache despite everything. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I swear to God I didn't know. He told me. Gloria told me." "I know what Gloria told you. She's been manipulating both of us for years. We've been pawns in her game." More crying. "Then, what do you want? Why are you calling me?" "Because I'm about to destroy Damon and Gloria legally. They've committed fraud, identity theft, forgery, conspiracy, multiple felonies, and when I'm done, they're going to lose everything." "Oh my God. But I need your help. You have evidence I don't have. Texts, photos, documents, and more importantly, you can testify about what Gloria told you, about the promises Damon made, about the lies they both told to keep you in the dark." "You want me to help you after everything?" I thought carefully about my next words. "Crystal, I'm not going to lie to you. A week ago, I would have hated you. I would have blamed you for everything, but I've had time to see the truth. You didn't steal my husband. He was never really mine. We were both being used by him and his mother. We were both being played." She sniffled. "But you're his wife." "Legally, yes. But you've been with him longer than I have. He bought you a house. He put a ring on your finger. He told you that you were the real relationship and I was just a mistake he was trying to fix." "How do you know that?" "Because I know how Gloria operates. I know she handpicked you for Damon years ago. I know she told you everything you wanted to hear to keep you waiting. And I know she was at your baby shower 3 weeks before she tried to destroy me at mine." Crystal was quiet for a long time. "She called me her real daughter-in-law," she finally said. She said once the divorce was final, I would finally get to be who I was supposed to be, Mrs. Harrison. There was never going to be a divorce. I didn't even know I was supposed to be getting divorced. The whole thing was a lie. I feel so stupid. Her voice was thick with tears. 4 years. 4 years I waited. 4 years I believed him. You're not stupid. You're a victim, just like me. The only people who should feel stupid are the ones who thought they could get away with this. I heard her take a shaky breath. What do you need from me? Everything. Every text message, every photo, every document Gloria gave you about finances or property or the future. Every promise Damon made that he didn't keep. I'm building a case, Crystal, a criminal case and a civil case. And when I'm done, Damon won't be able to hurt anyone ever again. And Gloria's going down too. She's been stealing from her own son's trust fund. There's already an investigation. What we know combined with what the lawyers know will bury her. Crystal was quiet again. I could almost hear her thinking, processing, trying to make sense of everything she'd believed falling apart. If I help you, she said slowly, what happens to me, to my baby? The townhouse is in his name. I don't have anywhere else to go. That townhouse was bought with stolen money, my money. By all rights, it should come to me in the divorce. I paused. But I'm not heartless, Crystal. I'm not going to throw a pregnant woman out on the street. If you help me, if you testify to what you know, we can work something out. A transition period. Time to get on your feet. Why would you do that for me? Because my daughter and your son are going to be siblings. Whether any of us like it or not, we're connected now. And I'd rather be allies than enemies. The silence stretched on so long, I thought she was going to refuse. Then she said, There's a folder. Gloria gave it to me when Damon bought the townhouse. Said it was important documents I needed to keep safe. Financial stuff. I never really looked at it closely because I trusted her. My heart started pounding. What kind of financial stuff? Bank statements, property records, some kind of transfer documents. She paused. I always thought it was weird that she gave it to me instead of Damon. But she said it was safer with me, that it was for our future. Gloria had been using Crystal as a document dump, a place to hide evidence outside of her own home where investigators might look. Crystal, I need that folder. I can bring it to you, tomorrow. Is there somewhere we can meet? I thought about it. My mother's house in Atlanta. I'll text you the address. Bring everything. The folder, your phone, any cards or gifts Damon gave you, anything with his name on it. Okay. Her voice was steadier now, like she was finding her footing. Nikki, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything, but I'm sorry. If I had known. I know, I said. I believe you. And the strange thing was I did. After we hung up, Tammy looked at me with wide eyes. She's coming here. The other woman is coming to your mama's house. She's not the enemy, Tammy. She's a witness, and maybe possibly she's going to be the key to taking down everyone who did this to us. Mama came in from the kitchen. I heard. I'll make extra food. That girl's eating for two just like you. But I smiled for the first time in days. Thank you, Mama. Baby, I raised you to be strong, but I also raised you to be kind, even when people don't deserve it. She cupped my face in her hands. I'm proud of you. That night, I dreamed about my daughter. She was running through a field of sunflowers laughing, and somewhere behind her another child was running too, a little boy, her brother. In my dream, they were happy. They were free. They didn't know anything about the mess their parents had made. I woke up knowing what I had to do, not just for me, not just for my daughter, for all of us. Tomorrow, Crystal would arrive, and the real reckoning would begin. Crystal arrived at Mama's house the next afternoon. I watched her get out of her car from the window. She moved slowly the way women do when they're 8 months pregnant and carrying the weight of the world. She was dressed simply in a blue maxi dress, no makeup, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked exhausted, defeated, lost. She looked exactly how I felt. Mama answered the door. I heard her say, "Come in, baby. You must be tired from the drive. Let me get you some water." Mama's warmth was unconditional, even now, even with this woman who had unknowingly shared my husband for years. I walked into the living room. Crystal and I looked at each other. It was strange seeing her in person. She was pretty like I'd seen in the photos, but up close, she looked younger than I'd expected, more vulnerable. Her eyes were red from crying. Her hands were shaking slightly. We were mirror images of each other in some ways, both black women, both pregnant, both betrayed by the same man. "Dominique," she said quietly. "Nikki," I corrected. "Everyone calls me Nikki." "Nikki." She tried out the name. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry seems so inadequate." "Don't apologize. You didn't know. Neither of us knew." Tammy and Yolanda were there too, sitting at the dining room table with their laptops and papers. They watched Crystal with cautious eyes, not hostile but not warm either. They were protecting me. I appreciated that. "This is Tammy, my best friend, and Yolanda, my cousin. They've been helping me investigate." Crystal nodded nervously. "I brought everything, like you asked." She handed me a tote bag heavy with documents and a phone and miscellaneous items, and there at the bottom was a manila folder thick with papers. "Gloria gave that to me when we bought the townhouse," Crystal said. "Well, when Damon bought it, I never really looked through it. Gloria said it was important and I should keep it safe." I opened the folder. The first few pages were what I expected. Property records for the townhouse, mortgage documents. Nothing new. But then I found the bank statements, not from Property Management LLC, from another account entirely, one I'd never seen before. The account was in Gloria's name, but the deposits were from Damon. Large amounts, 10,000 here, 15,000 there, over the past 4 years. "What is this?" I muttered, scanning the statements. Yolanda came to look over my shoulder. She sucked in a breath. "These are trust disbursements. Look at the source codes. Raymond Harrison Family Trust. Gloria's been moving money from the trust through Damon's accounts and into her personal account." "But Damon's the beneficiary. Why would he help her steal from his own trust?" "Because he probably doesn't know it's stealing," Yolanda said. "Look at the descriptions. Investment opportunity, business development, family emergency fund. Gloria's been telling him these are legitimate expenses. He's been signing off without looking." "Or he knows exactly what's happening and he doesn't care," Tammy said darkly. I kept flipping through the folder. There were more documents. Transfer authorizations with Damon's signature, expense reports that were clearly fabricated, and then, at the very back, a letter. It was from Raymond Harrison's original attorney, Gerald Morrison, addressed to Gloria, dated 18 months ago. I read it out loud. "Dear Mrs. Harrison, our review of the Raymond Harrison Family Trust has revealed significant irregularities in disbursements over the past 3 years. We are requesting a full accounting of all withdrawals and transfers made since the change in trustee administration. Failure to provide satisfactory documentation will result in formal legal proceedings. Sincerely, Gerald Morrison." "She was being investigated," I said. "Over a year ago, and she kept it hidden." "That's why she needed you out," Yolanda said. "If you divorced Damon and he lost assets, his share of the trust income would decrease, and Gloria's scheme would unravel." Everything clicked into place. Gloria's hatred of me wasn't personal. It was financial. I was a threat to her cash flow. My presence in Damon's life meant there was another person watching the money, another person who might notice the irregularities. And now that I was pregnant, now that there was a child who would have a claim on Damon's estate, Gloria's whole house of cards was about to collapse. "She tried to destroy me before I could destroy her," I said. Crystal had been watching this all unfold with wide eyes. "I had no idea. Gloria always seemed so nice to me, so supportive." "Because you weren't a threat," I explained. "You were an asset. Someone she could control. Someone who would keep Damon distracted while she drained his trust fund." I looked at Crystal. "Did she ever ask you to sign anything?" "Any documents?" Crystal thought about it. "A few times. She said it was for tax purposes, or for the townhouse refinancing. I never read them carefully. I trusted her." "Do you have copies?" "I might, in my email." She always sent digital copies afterward. We spent the next 3 hours going through everything. Crystal's phone was a goldmine. 4 years of texts with Damon full of promises and lies and plans for their future together. 4 years of texts with Gloria full of reassurances and manipulations and scheduling details. There were photos, too. Damon and Crystal at restaurants, on vacation, in bed. Each one was a knife, but I made myself look. I needed to see the scope of his betrayal. I needed to feel it all so I could use it. By the end of the afternoon, we had a complete picture. Damon had been running 2 relationships simultaneously for 4 years. Gloria had orchestrated the whole thing using Crystal as a backup plan and me as a cash cow. Together, they had stolen over $500,000 through various schemes and frauds, and now we had the proof. I called Angela Price, the family law attorney Mama had recommended. "Mrs. Harrison," she said when I explained who I was, "I heard about what happened at your baby shower. I've been waiting for your call." "I have evidence," I said. "A lot of it. Financial fraud, identity theft, forgery, conspiracy. I need to know what my options are. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? Bring everything you have, and I mean everything." "I'll be there." After I hung up, I looked around Mama's dining room, at the papers spread across the table, at Tammy and Yolanda, who had given up days of their lives to help me, at Crystal, who had driven 2 hours to deliver evidence against the man she thought she was going to marry, at Mama, who had fed us all and kept us going with coffee and love. "Thank you," I said, "all of you. I couldn't have done this alone." "You're not alone," Tammy said firmly. "You never were." Crystal stood up slowly, her hand on her belly. "I should go. It's a long drive back." "You could stay," Mama said. "I have a guest room. You shouldn't be driving that far this late, not in your condition." Crystal looked surprised by the offer. Then her eyes filled with tears. "You don't even know me." "I know you're carrying my great-nephew," Mama said simply. "And I know you need a safe place tonight. That's enough." Crystal stayed. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I sat on Mama's porch watching the fireflies. My daughter was moving inside me restless, probably feeling my stress. Tomorrow, I would meet with the lawyer. Tomorrow, the legal wheels would start turning. Tomorrow, my life would officially become a courtroom battle. But tonight, I was at peace. I had the truth. I had the evidence. I had my sister circle and my mama, and against all odds, an ally in the woman I should have hated most. Gloria Harrison had tried to destroy me with secrets and lies. She didn't realize that the truth was so much more powerful, and the truth was about to come out. Angela Price's office was on the 15th floor of a downtown Atlanta high-rise, the kind of building where serious business happens, the kind of place where lives get saved or destroyed, depending on which side of the table you're sitting on. I was going to make sure I was on the right side. Mama drove me because my hands were shaking too much to hold a steering wheel. Tammy came for moral support, and Crystal came because she was part of this now, whether any of us had planned it that way or not. We walked into the lobby carrying boxes of evidence, bank statements, phone records, property documents, photos, texts. 3 years of my life reduced to paper and pixels. Angela met us at the elevator. She was a tall woman in her 50s, elegant in a navy blue suit with silver locks pulled back from her face. She had the kind of presence that made you feel safe just being near her. "Mrs. Harrison," she said, shaking my hand firmly. "I've heard a lot about you. None of it from your husband's side, I might add. Call me Nikki." "Nikki." She smiled warmly. "Let's go see what we're working with." Her conference room had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. We spread our evidence across the massive table while Angela and her paralegal took notes. It took 3 hours to go through everything. When we were done, Angela sat back in her chair and let out a long breath. "In 22 years of practicing family law," she said, "I have never seen a case this well documented, or this damning." "What are my options?" I asked. "You have several. First, the divorce itself. Given the evidence of adultery, financial misconduct, and fraud, you're entitled to an at-fault divorce. In Georgia, that means you can pursue a larger share of marital assets." "What about the criminal charges?" Angela nodded. That's where it gets interesting. What Damon did goes beyond civil matters. The forged mortgage documents are federal bank fraud. The credit cards opened in your name without consent are identity theft. Both are felonies. She paused. You could file criminal charges. He could go to prison. I thought about that. Prison. For the man I had loved. The father of my daughter. And Gloria? Gloria's situation is even more precarious. The trust investigation is already underway. What you've provided today connects her directly to conspiracy and embezzlement. Combined with her role in manufacturing evidence against you and facilitating Damon's fraud. Angela shook her head. She's looking at serious time. Crystal spoke up for the first time. What about me? Am I in trouble? Angela looked at her with kind eyes. You signed documents without reading them. You accepted money that turned out to be stolen, but you did so without knowledge of the fraud. You're a victim, not a perpetrator. She paused. However, your testimony would be valuable. If you're willing to cooperate fully, I can ensure you're protected. I'll cooperate, Crystal said quietly. I want them to pay for what they did. To both of us. Angela turned back to me. Nikki, you need to decide how far you want to take this. We can pursue the divorce, civilly divide assets, establish custody and support. Or we can go nuclear. Criminal charges, restraining orders, the full weight of the law. I looked at Tammy, at Mama, at Crystal. Then I looked down at my belly, at my daughter, who was depending on me to make the right choice. What would you do? I asked Angela. If it was your husband, your money, your life. Angela was quiet for a moment. I would burn it all down, she said simply. Not for revenge, but for protection. Men like Damon don't stop. They don't learn. They find new victims. The only way to stop them is to make sure they can't do this to anyone else. I nodded slowly. Then we go nuclear. Angela smiled. It was a warrior's smile. I was hoping you'd say that. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind of legal preparation. Angela filed for divorce on grounds of adultery and fraud. She requested an emergency hearing to freeze all assets before Damon could hide anything else. She coordinated with Gerald Morrison, the trust attorney, to combine our evidence with his investigation, and she prepared the criminal referral. Through it all, I stayed at Mama's house. I went to my prenatal appointments. I ate well and slept when I could. I was protecting my daughter even as I prepared to destroy her father. Damon tried to call me dozens of times. I never answered. He sent texts ranging from apologetic to threatening to desperate. I'm sorry, baby. Please let me explain. You're making a mistake. You'll regret this. Nikki, please, I love you. I love our daughter. I saved every message. More evidence for the file. Gloria tried a different approach. She showed up at Mama's house one afternoon demanding to speak to me. Mama met her at the door. You're not welcome here, Mama said, blocking the entrance. And if you don't leave in the next 30 seconds, I'm calling the police. I just want to talk to Dominique, to explain. There's been a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. You tried to destroy my daughter with lies. You helped your son steal from her for years, and now you're going to face the consequences. You don't understand. Damon needs that money. The trust was his father's wish. I was just protecting my son's interests. Mama laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. Protecting his interests? You've been stealing from him. He's just too stupid to realize it. But he will. When the lawyers are done, he'll see exactly what kind of mother he has. Gloria's face went pale, then red with rage. You people, she hissed. You think you're so smart. You think you've won. But my son is a Harrison. He has resources you can't imagine. We'll fight this. We'll destroy you in court. Mama smiled. Good luck with that. Now get off my property before I make you. Gloria left, but her threat hung in the air. They were going to fight. I had expected that. What I hadn't expected was how hard they would fight. 3 days before the emergency hearing, I got a call from Angela. Nikki, we have a problem. Damon's lawyer filed a motion claiming you've been emotionally unstable throughout the pregnancy. They're requesting a psychological evaluation before any custody decisions are made. My blood went cold. What? They're using the baby shower incident against you, claiming you had a breakdown, that you've been erratic and paranoid. They have statements from Gloria and two of her church friends describing your unstable behavior. That's insane. Gloria is the one who attacked me. She fabricated evidence. I know, but they're trying to flip the narrative. Make you look like the aggressor, the crazy pregnant woman who turned on her devoted husband. I felt the walls closing in. This was Gloria's playbook, the same thing she had tried at the baby shower. If she couldn't destroy me with accusations of cheating, she would destroy me with accusations of mental illness. What do? We fight it. I'm filing a counter motion with all the evidence of Gloria's false accusations and manufactured evidence. We have the vitamin company records that prove her Marcus texts were a fabrication. We have Crystal's testimony that Gloria orchestrated the entire deception. Will it be enough? Angela paused. It should be. But Nikki, I need you to understand something. Court battles aren't just about evidence. They're about perception. And right now, Damon is going to do everything he can to make you look unhinged. So what do? Stay calm. Stay focused. Don't give them any ammunition. No public outbursts. No angry social media posts. Nothing that could be used against you. I understand. Good. Because in 3 days, you're going to walk into that courtroom and face the man who betrayed you, and you're going to have to do it without breaking. I took a deep breath. I won't break, I said. I've already been broken. This is what's left after, and what's left is stronger than they can imagine. The night before the hearing, Damon showed up at Mama's house. It was late, almost 10 o'clock. I was in my pajamas reading a book about infant sleep training, trying to prepare for the life I would have after all of this was over. The doorbell rang. Mama answered it, and I heard her voice go cold. You have no business being here. Please, I just need 5 minutes with my wife. That's all I'm asking. I walked to the door. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to see him one more time before we faced each other in court. Maybe I needed to remind myself why I was doing this. He looked terrible, unshaven, wrinkled clothes, dark circles under his eyes. The polished, charming man I had married was gone. In his place was someone desperate and broken. Good. What do you want, Damon? Can we talk, please, just you and me? Mama started to protest, but I held up my hand. It's okay, Mama. I'll talk to him on the porch. You can watch through the window. We stepped outside. The night air was cool and smelled like jasmine from Mama's garden. We stood facing each other, two strangers who used to be in love. You look good, Damon said. The pregnancy suits you. Don't. Don't what? Don't pretend this is a social visit. Don't pretend we're still us. Say what you came to say. He was quiet for a moment. Then he sighed. I made mistakes, Nikki. I know that. I'm not going to stand here and pretend I was a good husband. I wasn't. No, you weren't. But what you're doing, going to court pressing charges, trying to take everything, it doesn't have to be this way. We can work something out, split things fairly, share custody, move on like civilized people. I stared at him. Civilized people. You stole $120,000 from our joint accounts. You forged my signature on a mortgage. You opened credit cards in my name. You've been living a double life for 4 years. You had another woman pregnant before you even married me. I know all of that, and I'm sorry. Sorry. I let the word hang in the air. You're sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I was weak. I was confused. My mother, she had plans for me. She always had plans, and I went along with them because I didn't know how not to. So this is Gloria's fault. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, he ran his hands through his hair. I'm saying I never meant to hurt you. I loved you. I still love you. You loved my paycheck. You loved my stability. You loved having a respectable wife while you kept your mistress on the side. I shook my head. That's not love, Damon. That's using someone. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Explain it to me. Make me understand how a man who claims to love his wife spends years planning to leave her, stealing from her, building a life with someone else. He didn't answer. He couldn't. That's what I thought. Nikki, please. Think about the baby, our daughter. She deserves a father. She does. But she doesn't deserve you, not the man you really are. I stepped closer to him. You know what the saddest part is? I would have given you everything. If you had come to me 4 years ago and told me you weren't happy if you had asked for a divorce, I would have been devastated, but I would have let you go. I would have wished you well. I would have found a way to move on. His eyes were wet. I didn't care. But you didn't do that. You lied. You stole. You schemed. You let your mother humiliate me in front of everyone I love, and now you're going to face the consequences. My mother was trying to protect me. Your mother was trying to protect herself. She's been stealing from your trust fund for years. Did you know that? Did she tell you that while she was helping you drain our accounts, she was draining yours? His face went pale. That's not true. It's absolutely true. Gerald Morrison, your father's attorney, has been investigating her for over a year. The documents Crystal gave me, they prove Gloria has been embezzling from the Raymond Harrison Family Trust since your father died. She used you to launder the money. You've been her accomplice without even knowing it. No, she wouldn't. She would. And she did. The woman you've been protecting your whole life has been using you. Just like you used me. Damon stumbled backward. He grabbed the porch railing for support. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. I suggest you talk to a criminal attorney, I said, because you're going to need one for the fraud, for the identity theft, and now possibly for conspiracy to embezzle from your own trust fund. I didn't know. Nikki, I swear to God I didn't know. Then prove it. In court, tell the truth about what Gloria asked you to do. Testify against her. Maybe the prosecutor will take that into consideration. I turned to go back inside. Nikki, wait. I paused, but didn't turn around. Do you really hate me that much? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said finally. I don't hate you. I pity you. You had everything. A woman who loved you, a child on the way, a life that could have been beautiful. And you threw it all away because you were too weak to stand up to your mother, too greedy to be satisfied with what you had, too cowardly to tell the truth. I opened the door. Goodbye, Damon. I'll see you in court. I went inside and closed the door behind me. Through the window, I watched him stand on the porch for a long time staring at nothing. Then he got in his car and drove away. Mama came up behind me and put her arms around me. You okay, baby? Yeah, I said. I think I am. You were strong out there. Your father would be proud. I thought about my father, the man who had left when I was 5, who had walked out and never looked back. I had spent my whole life trying not to marry someone like him, and I had failed. But my daughter wouldn't fail, because she would have me. A mother who knew what abandonment looked like, a mother who would never let her settle for less than she deserved. Let's go to bed, Mama, I said. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. The Fulton County Family Courthouse was a massive building that smelled like old paper and broken dreams. I had been here before for work, testifying as an expert witness in fraud cases. But walking in as the plaintiff in my own divorce was different. This was personal. Angela met me in the lobby. She was wearing a burgundy suit today, power colors ready for battle. Her paralegal carried 2 boxes of evidence. How are you feeling? She asked. Ready. Good. Remember what we discussed? Stay calm. Answer questions directly. Don't let his lawyer bait you into an emotional response. I understand. And Nikki, you're going to win this. The evidence is overwhelming. Just trust the process. We entered the courtroom. Damon was already there with his lawyer, a slick-looking man in an expensive suit. Gloria sat in the gallery behind them wearing all black like she was in mourning. She glared at me as I walked past. I didn't give her the satisfaction of a reaction. Crystal was there too, sitting on my side of the gallery with Tammy, Yolanda, and Mama. She gave me a small nod when our eyes met. Solidarity. Aunt Patricia was in the back row. She had come despite the family pressure, despite Gloria's fury. She was here for the truth. The judge entered. Honorable Evelyn Carter, a stern-looking black woman in her 60s with no tolerance for nonsense. Angela had said she was fair but tough. "We're here for an emergency hearing in the matter of Harrison versus Harrison," Judge Carter began. "Petitioner is seeking expedited divorce proceedings on grounds of adultery and fraud, asset protection custody determination, and a restraining order. Let's begin." Angela presented our case first. She was magnificent. She walked the judge through 3 years of bank statements highlighting every suspicious transfer, every unexplained withdrawal. She presented the forged mortgage documents with expert testimony from a handwriting analyst who confirmed my signature had been faked. She showed the credit card statements, the insurance fraud with Crystal listed as a spouse, the text messages proving Damon's double life. And then she called Crystal to the stand. Crystal walked to the witness box slowly, her pregnant belly leading the way. She was nervous, but her voice was steady. "Ms. Montgomery," Angela said, "how long have you known Damon Harrison?" 4 years. "And during that time, what was your understanding of your relationship?" "I thought we were in a committed relationship. I thought we were going to get married." "Did you know he was already married?" "No." Crystal's voice cracked. "He told me his wife was an ex who wouldn't sign the divorce papers. He said it was a technicality." "And who reinforced this story?" "His mother, Gloria. She told me the same thing. She said I was the real relationship, that Nikki was just a mistake Damon was trying to correct." "Did Gloria Harrison ever give you any documents to hold?" "Yes, a folder with financial papers. She said it was for our future." Angela entered the folder into evidence. The trust documents, the transfer records, the proof of Gloria's embezzlement. "Your witness," Angela said to Damon's lawyer. He tried to discredit Crystal, tried to paint her as a willing participant in the affair, but Crystal held firm. "I didn't know," she said repeatedly. "I was lied to, just like Nikki was." Next, Angela called Gerald Morrison, the trust attorney. He testified about his 18-month investigation into Gloria's mismanagement, about the $300,000 missing from the Raymond Harrison Family Trust, about Damon's signatures on documents he claimed he never read. Damon's lawyer tried to object, claiming this was outside the scope of the divorce hearing. Judge Carter overruled him. "Financial fraud committed by the respondent is absolutely relevant to asset division and credibility," she said. "Continue." Finally, it was my turn. I walked to the witness stand with my head high. My daughter kicked inside me, giving me strength. Angela's questions were easy. "Just tell the truth. Explain what you found. Describe how you felt." "When did you first realize something was wrong in your marriage?" "Looking back, the signs were there for years, but I didn't want to see them. I loved my husband. I trusted him." I paused. "The first concrete evidence came the night after my baby shower, when I finally looked at our bank statements and saw $120,000 missing. And when you asked your husband about this, he told me I was being paranoid, that it was pregnancy hormones. He tried to make me think I was crazy." "How did that make you feel?" "Devastated, but also determined, because I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew what I had seen, and I decided to find the truth no matter what." Then it was Damon's lawyer's turn. He came at me hard, tried to make me look vindictive, unstable, a scorned woman exaggerating her husband's mistakes. "Mrs. Harrison, isn't it true that you've always been controlling about money?" "I've always been responsible about money. There's a difference." "And isn't it true that you sometimes checked your husband's phone without permission?" "I never checked his phone. He made sure of that by keeping it with him at all times." "Your mother-in-law claims you've been hostile to her since the beginning of the marriage. Is that true?" "I've been civil to Gloria despite her constant criticism. I cooked for her, drove her to appointments, included her in holidays. If that's hostility, I don't know what word to use for what she did to me at my baby shower." The lawyer tried a few more angles, but I stayed calm, focused. I answered every question directly and without emotion. I didn't give him an inch. When he finally sat down, I could see the defeat in his eyes. He knew he had lost. Judge Carter called a 30-minute recess to review the evidence. We waited in the hallway, tension thick in the air. Tammy held my hand. "You were amazing in there. I just told the truth." Sometimes that's the most powerful thing you can do. When we returned to the courtroom, Judge Carter's face was grim. "I have reviewed all evidence presented today," she began. "And I have to say, in 30 years on the bench, I have rarely seen a case so clearly documented." She looked at Damon. He couldn't meet her eyes. "Mr. Harrison, the evidence against you is overwhelming. Financial fraud, identity theft, forgery, maintaining a secret relationship and child while married. These are not mere mistakes. This is a pattern of systematic deception and theft against your own wife." She turned to Gloria. "Mrs. Harrison, your involvement in this scheme is equally clear. You manufactured false evidence to defame your daughter-in-law. You facilitated your son's fraud, and the documents presented today suggest you have been embezzling from your late husband's trust for years. I am referring this matter to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation." Gloria made a strangled sound. Damon reached for her hand. "As for the divorce proceedings," Judge Carter continued, "I am granting the petitioner's requests in full." My heart soared. The marital home purchased primarily with the petitioner's income and inheritance is awarded solely to Mrs. Dominique Harrison. All joint accounts, what remains of them, are to be immediately transferred to the petitioner's sole control. The respondent is ordered to pay restitution of $195,000 for documented stolen funds. Full legal and physical custody of the minor child when born is awarded to the petitioner. The respondent is ordered to pay child support of $2,200 per month until the child reaches 18. A restraining order is granted. Mr. Harrison must remain 500 feet from the petitioner, her residence, and her place of work. Damon stood up. "Your Honor, this isn't fair. I'm the father of that child. I have rights." Judge Carter fixed him with a stare that could freeze lava. "Mr. Harrison, you forfeited your rights when you stole from your child's mother, when you forged her signature, when you betrayed every vow you ever made. Be grateful I'm not ordering you arrested today." She banged her gavel. "Court is adjourned." I sat there for a moment, unable to move. It was over. After weeks of investigation, after years of lies, it was finally over. Tammy grabbed me in a hug. Mama was crying. Yolanda was grinning like she'd just won the lottery. Crystal walked over slowly. We looked at each other, two women who had been through hell together. "We did it," she said quietly. "We did it," I agreed. Then I looked across the courtroom at Damon and Gloria. They were huddled together, defeated, their empire of lies crumbled around them. Gloria caught my eye. There was no more triumph in her face, no more disdain. Just hate. Pure, burning hate. I smiled at her, and I walked out of that courtroom with my head held high. The weeks after the hearing were a whirlwind of change. I moved back into my house. Our house. No, my house. The house I had bought with my grandmother's inheritance. The house I had paid the mortgage on for 3 years. The house that was finally legally mine alone. The first night back, I walked through every room. The bedroom where Damon had slept next to me while texting another woman. The kitchen where I had cooked meals for a man who was stealing from me. The nursery I had decorated with such hope for our future. Everything felt different now. Tainted. But also mine. I started redecorating the next day. Mama and Tammy came over to help. We painted the bedroom a soft lavender. We rearranged the furniture. We took down the photos of Damon and me and replaced them with pictures of Mama and my friends and the ultrasound images of my daughter. By the time we were done, the house didn't feel like a crime scene anymore. It felt like a fresh start. The criminal investigation moved quickly. Gloria was arrested 2 weeks after the hearing. The charges were extensive. Embezzlement from the trust, conspiracy to commit bank fraud, filing false statements. The DA called it one of the most clear-cut cases of elder financial abuse he had ever seen. She made bail, but her assets were frozen. The trust attorneys were clawing back every penny she had stolen over the years. Her church friends disappeared one by one. Her reputation was destroyed. I heard she was living in a small apartment on the outskirts of the city, now waiting for her trial. Alone. Damon's situation was more complicated. The DA offered him a deal: testify against his mother, provide evidence of her schemes. In exchange, some of his charges would be reduced. He took the deal. I don't know if he did it out of self-preservation or if he finally understood what Gloria had done to him. Maybe both. Either way, his testimony sealed his mother's fate. But he still faced consequences of his own. Probation. A fraud conviction on his record. Mandatory restitution payments that would take years to complete. His career was over. His reputation was destroyed. He would never work in pharmaceutical sales again. The last I heard, he was working at a warehouse in another city, making minimum wage, trying to rebuild a life from the ashes of the one he had burned down. I didn't feel sorry for him. But I didn't feel triumphant either. I just felt done, ready to move forward. Crystal and I kept in touch. It was strange at first. We were bonded by the worst experience of our lives. We had every reason to hate each other, but somehow we didn't. She stayed in the townhouse while she figured out her next move. Angela had negotiated a 6-month transition period. Time for Crystal to find a job, save money, get on her feet. Her son was born 3 weeks before my daughter. She named him Raymond after Damon's father, the man whose trust had been stolen by his own wife. It seemed right, she told me. Raymond was a good man. He deserved to be remembered. When I went into labor, Tammy was my coach. She had taken time off work to be there, determined to help me bring my daughter into the world. It was a long labor. 18 hours of contractions and breathing exercises and moments when I thought I couldn't do it anymore. But then I heard her cry. That tiny, perfect cry. And nothing else mattered. They placed her on my chest, warm and wiggling and absolutely beautiful. She had Damon's eyes and my nose. 10 fingers. 10 toes. Perfect. "Hey there, baby girl," I whispered. "I'm your mama, and I'm going to protect you for the rest of my life." Mama was there, crying. Tammy was there, crying. Even Yolanda, who never cried, wiped her eyes. "What are you going to name her?" Mama asked. I had thought about it for months. I had considered naming her after my grandmother, the woman whose inheritance had given me a foundation. I had considered naming her Grace, the name Damon had suggested before I knew what kind of man he really was. But in the end, I chose something different. "Zora," I said, after Zora Neale Hurston. "If you are silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it," Mama quoted. Exactly. My daughter will never be silent. She will never let anyone treat her the way I was treated. She will know her worth from day one. Zora looked up at me with those beautiful eyes, like she understood. "Welcome to the world, Zora Jean Harrison," I whispered. "You are loved, you are wanted, and you are going to do amazing things." In the weeks that followed, I settled into motherhood. It was hard, harder than I expected, the sleepless nights, the constant feeding, the worry that I was doing everything wrong. But it was also beautiful. The way Zora curled into my chest when she slept, the way her eyes followed me around the room, the way she grabbed my finger and held on tight. I wasn't doing this alone. Mama practically moved in for the first month. Tammy came by every few days with food and support. Even Crystal stopped by once with her son Raymond. We sat on my couch, 2 women who had been enemies, now something like friends. Our babies slept side by side, half-siblings who would grow up knowing each other. "Do you think they'll understand?" Crystal asked. "When they're older, what their father did?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "But I'll tell Zora the truth, not the ugly details, not until she's ready, but the important parts. That her father made bad choices, that he hurt people who loved him, and that she is not responsible for his mistakes. That's more than my mother ever told me about my father." "Then we'll do better. Both of us. We'll raise these kids to be honest and kind and strong. We'll break the cycle." Crystal nodded. "Break the cycle. I like that." She left an hour later, Raymond asleep in his car seat. At the door, she paused. "Nikki, thank you for not hating me, for giving me a chance. I know you didn't have to." "We're family now," I said. "Whether we like it or not, Zora and Raymond are connected forever, so we might as well make it work." Crystal smiled, the first genuine smile I had seen from her. "Yeah, I guess we might as well." I'm sitting on my porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Zora is in my lap, playing with a stuffed elephant that Tammy gave her. She's a year old now, walking, babbling, getting into everything. She's perfect. The house behind me is truly mine now. Every room reflects who I am, who I've become. There are no more ghosts here, no more memories that make me flinch. A lot has changed in the past year. I went back to work 3 months after Zora was born. The firm was understanding. They let me ease back in part-time at first, then full-time. I was promoted to senior director last month, biggest raise of my career. Turns out when you're not spending all your emotional energy on a man who's using you, you have a lot more to give to your work. Mama is healthy and happy. She babysits Zora twice a week, spoiling her rotten. Says it's a grandmother's privilege. Tammy is still my rock. We have brunch every other Saturday, just like always. Except now, Zora comes with me. She's the official mascot of our table. Yolanda started a nonprofit helping women investigate financial abuse in their relationships. She calls it Follow the Money. I'm on the board of directors. Crystal moved back to Raleigh after she got on her feet. She has a good job now, a nice apartment. She sends me photos of Raymond every few weeks. He looks more like Damon every day. It doesn't hurt anymore when I see those photos. It's just a fact. Raymond is my daughter's half-brother. Someday they'll know each other. Someday I'll have to explain why they have the same father but different lives. But that's a problem for another day. Gloria is in prison. She got 5 years for embezzlement and fraud. She'll be out in 3 with good behavior. I don't think about her much anymore. She's just a cautionary tale now, a reminder of what happens when greed consumes you. Damon sends child support every month. It arrives like clockwork taken directly from his wages. I put it in a college fund for Zora. His money at least is doing something useful. He's requested visitation a few times. I've denied it. The restraining order is still in place. My lawyer says he'll probably file something eventually try to assert his parental rights. When that happens, I'll be ready. I have all the evidence. I have the truth on my side. And I have a daughter who deserves to be protected from a father who doesn't know how to love anyone but himself. Last week, something happened that surprised me. I was at church. The same church where I'd met Damon. The same church where Gloria had held court for years, telling everyone what a devoted mother she was. After service, an older woman approached me. Mother Patricia Williams. She had been one of Gloria's closest friends. "Sister Nikki," she said, "I need to apologize to you." "For what?" "For believing Gloria, for doubting you, for being part of the whisper network that made your life harder than it needed to be." I didn't know what to say. "When the truth came out," she continued, "when we learned what Gloria had done, what Damon had done, I felt so ashamed. We all did. We had been fooled, but that's no excuse. We should have listened to you. We should have seen what was right in front of our faces." "Why are you telling me this now?" Mother Patricia took my hands. Her eyes were wet. "Because you deserved to hear it, and because I want you to know you are welcome in this church. You always were. And anyone who says different will answer to me." She hugged me tight. And for the first time in a year, I cried in public. Not sad tears, not angry tears. Something else. Relief. Healing. The slow process of letting go. Tonight, after Zora goes to sleep, I'm meeting someone for dinner. His name is Michael. He's a friend of a friend, a social worker who specializes in child welfare. Kind eyes. Gentle voice. He asked me to coffee 6 months ago. I said no. He asked again 3 months ago. I said maybe. He asked again last month. I said yes. We've been on 4 dates, nothing serious yet. Just 2 people getting to know each other, taking it slow. He knows my story, all of it, the baby shower, the fraud, the double life. I told him on our 2nd date because I didn't want any secrets between us. He listened without judgment, without pity, and then he said something that made me realize he might be worth knowing better. "You're not a victim, Nikki. You're a survivor, and survivors are the strongest people I know." I don't know if Michael is my future. It's too early to tell, but I do know that I'm open to the possibility now. Open to love again. Not the blind, naive love I had with Damon. Something wiser. Something built on honesty and respect. Zora is falling asleep in my lap. Her little hand is wrapped around my finger, holding on even in her dreams. I think about the woman I was a year ago, standing in my mama's living room while my mother-in-law tried to destroy me, humiliated, broken, terrified. And I think about the woman I am now, a mother, a professional, a survivor, someone who took the worst thing that ever happened to her and turned it into strength. Gloria thought she was ending me that day at the baby shower. She was just getting me started. If you're listening to this story, if you're watching right now, maybe you're going through something similar. Maybe your husband is hiding money. Maybe your mother-in-law is working against you. Maybe you suspect the person you love isn't who they claim to be. I want you to know something. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't let anyone tell you you're crazy. Don't let anyone gaslight you into doubting what you know. Document everything. Screenshots, bank statements, emails, text messages. Build your evidence before you need it. Because when the moment comes when you're ready to fight, you want to be prepared. Find your people, your sister circle, your mama, your cousin who knows how to investigate. You can't do this alone and you don't have to. And most importantly, know your worth. You are not an ATM. You are not a doormat. You are not someone's backup plan while they live their real life somewhere else. You are worthy of honesty. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of love that doesn't hurt. My mother-in-law stood up at my baby shower and tried to destroy me with a lie. But the truth came out. It always does. And when it did, I was ready. I took back my house. I took back my money. I took back my dignity. And I built a new life. A better life. A life that's truly mine. If I can do it, so can you. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. If this touched you, if you recognized yourself in any part of it, leave a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me your story if you want to share it. You're not alone. You were never alone. Now go out there and take back what's yours. This is Nikki Harrison signing off. With love, with strength, and with hope for whatever comes next.